Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we'll be focusing on the gray wolf, their amazing comeback, and their importance to ecosystems. And since you're already interested in wolves, I think we could skip over all the basic stuff, right?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, perfect. So I think a good place to start is with a question for you all. Did you know that a wolf pack can actually bring down prey much larger than themselves?
It's true. And not only that, their howls, which we all think of as kind of scary, are actually a really complex form of communication.
So cool. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. When we think of a wolf, we tend to imagine like a big dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, a wolf is way bigger than your average dog. I mean, imagine a dog the size of a small child. That's how big a wolf can get. Some of them are even 6.5 feet long.
Yeah, some of the males can weigh up to 145 pounds. That's like carrying around a whole other adult human. And all that bulk really helps them when they're hunting, especially larger prey like elk or even bison.
Wow, I knew they were big, but that's massive. And what about that thick fur they have? I know it helps them to survive the winter, but I bet there's more to it than that, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It can be all different colors, from white to black, and it acts as insulation against the cold. But it's not just about size and fur. Wolves also have extremely good senses: smell, hearing, and vision.
So it's like they have some kind of built-in superpower, like nature's ninjas or something. Okay, so we have these strong wolves, super sharp senses roaming around. But they're not lone wolves, right?
Right, they live in packs.
That's right. And that's where things get really fascinating.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these wolf packs. What's the dynamic like?
Wolf packs have a really structured social order. There's an alpha pair, a male and a female, and they're the leaders of the whole pack. They decide basically everything: where to hunt, what territory belongs to them, how to raise pups.
Okay, so is it like a wolf monarchy?
Not really, because even though the alpha pair is in charge, the other wolves can still, contribute to decisions through a very complex communication system. So they're not just barking orders, it's more like they're having a discussion about what to do next. And they have all these different sounds they make to communicate: howls, barks, growls. They even use scent marking.
Wait, scent marking, is that like peeing on trees to let other wolves know whose territory it is?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but yeah, they mark their territory with scent. Think about it this way. A wolf's howl can be heard by its pack members from miles away. They can tell each other where to meet up, and they can even tell the difference between their pack's howls and the howls of, a rival pack.
It's incredible. So it's not just like random howling.
Right.
They're actually having a real conversation.
Yeah.
That whole pack structure must be super important for them to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're hunting.
It is, yeah. So if they're going after something really big, like a bison, all the wolves work together. Each wolf has its own job, and they have to move in a really coordinated way so they can exhaust the prey and bring it down.
It's mind-blowing. It takes a lot of intelligence to coordinate a hunt like that, especially when you're going after something so much bigger than you. What else can you tell me about the way wolf packs operate?
Well, that whole pack structure is really important for raising pups, too. So once the alpha female has her pups, which is usually about 4 to 6 of them, all the other wolves help take care of them. The whole pack brings them food, shows them how to hunt, and gets them ready for, living in the wild.
It really does take a village, doesn't it? Even for wolves.
Yeah, it does, and that's a big part of how they survive. It also shows how strong the family bonds are within a pack.
Okay, so we have these really amazing predators. They live in these tight-knit packs. They speak their own language. They work together to take care of their pups. It's incredible. But there's a lot more to wolves than this, right? They have a super important role in the whole ecosystem.
Definitely. They are what's called an apex predator. They're at the top of the food chain. Nothing hunts them in their natural habitat. And that means they have a big impact on shaping the entire ecosystem.
Whoa, that's powerful. How does being at the top of the food chain actually help the whole ecosystem?
Well, let's imagine for a second that there weren't any wolves. What would happen? The deer population would just explode, right? And then all those deer would eat so much that it would hurt the plant life and change the landscape. But wolves prevent that from happening because they keep the deer population in check.
So they're kind of like nature's gardeners, making sure that everything stays balanced.
Exactly. And it really is like a domino effect. Wolves have an impact on everything, from the plants to the other animals.
This is blowing my mind. I never realized how important wolves are. It's like they're secretly running the whole show. But I know that things haven't always been so great for them, have they?
Sadly, no. Habitat loss and, humans hunting them have really hurt their populations in the past.
I was just about to ask about that. What's being done to help them come back?
Well, there are lots of conservation efforts, like protecting their habitats and passing laws to keep them safe. And in some areas, those efforts are really helping them to bounce back.
That's so great to hear. So there's hope for these amazing creatures.
Definitely. It just goes to show that when we understand how important something is, like biodiversity, and we all work together, we can really make a difference.
This is so inspiring. It's not too late to turn things around. If we all do our part to understand the role of wolves and how to live alongside them, we can make sure that they have a future.
Exactly. And a healthy wolf population means a healthier ecosystem for everyone, including us.
Well, this is just the beginning. We've only just scratched the surface of what makes gray wolves so fascinating. Stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive because we'll be exploring some truly incredible stories about wolf behavior and the complex relationships they have with other animals. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Welcome back. So last time we talked about all sorts of cool stuff about gray wolves, like how they live in packs and how important they are for keeping ecosystems in tip-top shape. And we learned that they're not just these like scary predators, but actually really intelligent and social animals.
We talked about how strong they are, how sharp their senses are, all the stuff that makes them such amazing hunters, bringing down prey that's much bigger than them.
I mean, it's crazy how they've managed to adapt to all these different environments. Like you see them in forests and snowy areas all over the place.
It's a good point. Their ability to adapt is a huge part of why they've been able to survive for so long. They're super resilient with strong instincts, really impressive animals.
Definitely. And speaking of survival, let's talk a bit more about how they actually hunt. It's not just about being strong, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of strategy involved. I mean, they're so intelligent and they're all about teamwork. So they use their senses. They can smell their prey from far away, and their hearing is so good they can pick up the tiniest sounds.
It's like they're performing some kind of perfectly synchronized hunting dance. I can just picture them moving through the forest, completely silent and focused. It must be amazing to see.
You've said it. It's incredible. Their long legs and strong bodies let them chase prey for like a really long time until the prey is worn out and they can move in for the kill. And then, they don't just keep all the food for themselves.
That's right. They share it with the whole pack, even the pups and the wolves that weren't able to hunt that day.
Exactly. And they're all about helping each other out, not just with hunting. They all work together to protect their territory, raise their young, and keep each other safe.
So their whole social structure affects everything they do, huh? Speaking of that, we talked a bit about the alpha pair last time. What kind of leaders are they, really? Like, what qualities do they have that make them good leaders?
Well, the alpha male and female are usually the oldest wolves in the pack, so they have the most experience. And they show their leadership in lots of ways. For example, they often get the hunt started, they pick out good spots for their dens, and they even step in to stop fights within the pack. But it's not really about being aggressive or dominant, you know what I mean?
Interesting. So it's not like a dictatorship.
Nah, not at all. It's more like being a parent. They guide the pack and make sure everyone is safe. Sure, they're in charge. But they still need the other wolves to cooperate and help out.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's more about wisdom and experience than just being the toughest.
Right.
And I still can't get over how cool it is that they communicate using howls. We already talked about how they use them to like let each other know where they are, but is there anything else they're saying with those howls?
Yeah, totally. They can use howls to express all kinds of feelings and information. Like, they might howl to get everyone together before a hunt, to warn the pack about danger, or just to reinforce their bonds with each other. And get this, each wolf's howl was unique, so they can tell who's howling, even from far away.
So it's like they're having full-blown conversations. Makes you wonder what they'd say if we could actually understand them.
It's really a fascinating way to communicate. And that's not all. They use all kinds of sounds to talk to each other. Barks, growls, whines, even whimpers.
I bet they express a lot of different emotions with those sounds.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much they can say without using words. All right, so we've talked about how they organize themselves, how they communicate, how they hunt. But what about the bigger picture? What challenges are wolves facing right now?
Sadly, they've been persecuted by humans for a long time, and that's caused their numbers to go down in a lot of places. Habitat loss is another big problem, and then you have things like illegal hunting and conflict with people.
It's a shame to hear that. But it sounds like more people are starting to realize how important they are to keeping ecosystems healthy. Is that making a difference?
It is. There are people working hard to protect them and the places where they live. They're doing things like making sure there are laws to protect wolves, educating people about them, and working on conservation projects. And in some places, these efforts are really working, and wolves are starting to come back.
It's great to hear that there's hope for them. It sounds like these programs where they bring wolves back to areas where they used to live are showing us how powerful human action can be.
For sure. And it reminds us that we all have a responsibility to protect these amazing creatures and make sure they can keep existing.
It's inspiring to see how passionate people are about protecting them and their role in the ecosystem. This conversation has really opened my eyes to how special wolves are, and I can't wait to hear more about the incredible things they can do.
Yeah, there's still a lot more to learn. In the last part of our deep dive, we'll get into some awesome examples of wolf behavior and how they interact with other species. And we'll talk about what people are doing to make sure wolves have a safe and healthy future.
Sounds like we've got a lot more ground to cover. Don't miss the final part of our deep dive into the world of gray wolves. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of gray wolves. We've already learned so much about these incredible creatures, but there's still a lot more to uncover. I'm so excited to hear more about some specific things they do, like how they behave and the relationships they form.
Yeah, one thing that really fascinates scientists is how they communicate within the pack. It's so intricate. Their howls aren't just random, they're packed with meaning. They talk about their territory, who's in their pack, even if there's danger nearby or if they've found prey.
It's amazing. Like each wolf has their own unique howl, right?
That's right. And they can recognize each other's howls even when they're miles apart. Sound is a huge part of their world.
So cool. But it's not just the sounds they make, is it? They use their whole bodies to communicate.
You got it. Body language is a big part of it, too. A wolf that's, like, in charge might hold its tail high and its ears up. But a wolf that's being submissive will tuck its tail in and flatten its ears.
It's like they're having a whole conversation without saying a word. It makes you think about how much we rely on actually talking to each other.
Right. And scent is another huge part of how they communicate, too.
Oh, yeah. Scent marking. We talked about that before, but I want to know more. What else do they do with scent?
Wolves have these incredible noses, way more sensitive than ours. They use their sense of smell to pick up on all kinds of things, like they can smell other wolves, even tell who they are. And they can even figure out if another wolf is ready to mate just by smelling them.
That's like having a superpower. Their sense of smell gives them so much information about everything around them.
Exactly. It's a big part of how they survive. Speaking of survival, let's get back to those incredible hunting skills. I know we've touched on it, but I'm dying to know more. What are some of the ways they work together to bring down those huge animals, like elk or bison?
Oh, I'm so curious about that.
Yeah.
It just seems impossible, but they do it.
Well, one of their tactics is called relay chasing. Basically, they take turns chasing the prey so they don't get too tired. They just keep switching out, but they never let up the pressure.
That is genius. They figured out how to use their energy in the smartest way.
Right. They also use the land to their advantage, like steering the prey toward a cliff or a really thick bunch of trees where it's harder to get away.
So they're not just strong, they're smart too.
Yeah,
And they know how to use the environment to their advantage. They're like survival experts.
they are. And their success as hunters affects the whole ecosystem. I mean, we know that they help keep the populations of their prey in check, but there are other effects too that we might not even realize.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. When wolves are around, deer and elk are afraid to hang out in certain places. So those areas can start to grow back and you get more plants.
So wolves can change what the landscape looks like.
Exactly. It's called a trophic cascade. When wolves are present, the whole ecosystem shifts. You get changes in the soil, the way water flows, even the types of birds that live there.
I had no idea. It's incredible how much impact just one species can have. It really shows how everything in nature is connected.
It does. And that's why it's so important to understand the role of predators like wolves in keeping ecosystems healthy.
This has been such an eye-opening journey. We've learned so much about gray wolves, from their physical adaptations to their complex social structures and how essential they are to the environment.
They remind us that there's still so much wildness left in the world, and we need to protect it.
It's inspiring to see the amazing work that people are doing to help wolves recover and all the progress they've made. There's hope for the future.
Their comeback shows just how resilient nature is and how much of an impact we can have when we try to make things right. By learning about wolves and appreciating their place in the web of life, we can help them survive.
So what can we all do to help?
Learn more. Share what you've learned with others. Support organizations that are working to protect wolves and their habitats.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey into the world of gray wolves. It's been a privilege to learn from you and share these insights with our